I'm not the only employee in the store. This hasn't happened to me in quite a while, but I find it annoying when I'm obviously helping another customer. You know what I mean? Do they go find another employee? Nope. They come right up to me asking their own question when I'm clearly busy. Like I'm not the only person working. There was one time during the Christmas season where a co-worker and I were working on restocking someone, and a woman comes up and asks me her question. As I'm trying to answer, 3 or 4 other people come up to me and ask me their questions, and I was just overwhelmed. Like, yeah, it's not like there was another employee standing 2 feet away from me! It was like he was invisible to them. Like, my god, I can only have one person at that time, damn it! It's one thing I'm helping with a customer and they aren't fine with me. It's another when it's obvious, but they feel like they are more important than the person I'm trying to help. Seriously, look around for someone else instead of rudely interrupting a busy employee! This is just one example of how I'm treated at work. So, I found this subreddit and I figure I share one of my many stories of how I'm treated like shit. And notice that I said I am treated like shit, not was. Even if I wrote these lines approximately 3 months ago. In the month of July, this may be relevant for anyone listening or reading this. So, I work at a retail job once a week due to working a full-time job. A few weeks ago, I was working register, which I absolutely hate and everyone knows it. I was on register and probably for like the first hour, I was in a really good mood. I was talking with the other cashiers whenever there were no customers around. That was until my manager, let's call her Kay, came up to me and basically told me how I shouldn't bother the other cashiers and that I needed to leave them alone. She told me that this isn't the time to be socializing when there's work to be done, which again, there were no customers to wait on, and gave me something to do. I should also note that she told me this in front of the other cashiers who were literally standing around as well. One of the cashiers, who is an older lady, who is really nice and she's one of my favorite co-workers, came up to me and said that Kay was being really rude and that I shouldn't let it get to me, and how I wasn't bothering her or anyone else. I wish that would have been the end of it. A little later, the next customer service worker comes in to take over the previous customer service worker's shift. We'll call her Mary. At 6 p.m, one of the cashiers was done with her shift and went to clock out. Mary decided to go with her and show her pictures of her dog, and then proceeded to have a conversation with her. Meanwhile, I'm by myself taking care of the line of customers. There was another cashier, but she was out on the floor putting things away. As of Kay's request, of course, which I'm thinking she had her on the floor just out of spite of me staying off register. But again, I'm not mad at that other cashier at all. Alright? I want that to be very clear. So, Mary's talking with the cashier who just clocked out and is on her phone while I'm over here working my butt off, and at one point I asked her if she can jump on and help me ring and she said she would. Nope. That did not happen. She continued talking with the clock out cashier as I was trying to take care of the customers. Even one of my customers that I was checking out even mentioned how I seemed to be the only one working. With another customer, I once again asked Mary to come up and help me ring, and she said she would, but taking her sweet time getting to the register, as she was still on her phone. The customer I was with even mentioned how it looked like she was ignoring me, and I had to try my best to hide the annoyance while speaking to the customer. But did she get in trouble for this? Nope. And this happened twice! A little later, Mary told me that she was going to take the trash back and then use the bathroom, so she would be right back. Meaning I would be the only one front up again. Cue 10 to 15 minutes and she still decided not to come back up front. At one point, the phone rang and Kay said over the walkie-talkie that someone up front needed to answer it. Again, I'm the only one up there. I said over the walkie-talkie how I was with a customer and someone else would have to answer it. Then Kay said, back in an angry and stern voice, how the phone had to be answered up front, so I had to stop what I was doing. I run over to the register that had the phone, I take the call and then run back and I apologize to the customer, which luckily she was very understanding. Where my stress level was through the roof. The reason I don't like register is because my anxiety goes high. If I'm up there for too long and I get overwhelmed and I want to break down and cry. I was so stressed that my stomach started hurting and I mentioned to one of my coworkers that I was running to the bathroom real quick. Cue 5 minutes of me being in the restroom and Kay says over the walkie-talkie where I'm at. 5 minutes! I was literally on the toilet waiting for my stomach pain to go away, which it did. Once I told her I was in the bathroom, I'm thinking, great, now I'm gonna get lectured for leaving the register just to use the bathroom. She didn't. After I got back out, the other closing cashier got pulled to zone the store and Mary did her nightly things. I once again asked Mary to jump on register and this time it took her a minute to jump on and help me. But literally, mostly the rest of that night was just me on register. This isn't even the first time that Kay has treated me like crap. Even some of my older co-workers and other co-workers agree that Kay is always after me for some reason. I get my work done even if it's a slow process. What I also hate is I had to ask the senior manager for months if I can be on the floor more, and she said she would see what she could do. There was always me being on register and sometimes be mistreated up on register if I dared to do something all the other cashiers did. It got to the point where I told the senior manager about my anxiety and feeling overwhelmed when I'm on register, and that's when she took me seriously. Which pissed me off because I shouldn't have gotten to that point. It shouldn't have gotten to that point. When it's anyone else, it's okay. I'll put you on in this position the next schedule. While I have to fight back for months. Now, recently, they have me being a cashier again out of nowhere and I don't know why. Literally last night I was trying not to cry and not have an anxiety attack while I was on register. One of my co-workers told me I should stay quiet about talking to my senior manager about why I'm on register again. But at this point I just don't care anymore. I'm tired of being treated like this. I'm planning on putting my 2 weeks notice in early in September. I want to make sure my full-time job probation period is over before I do. It ends in late August, which probation is a year, which is kinda dumb. I just feel September cannot come quick enough. I was blamed for not helping a sick co-worker. Okay, I know the title sounds really bad, but let me explain. So, I work in a retail place that basically sells a variety of things. Seasonal items, food, garden stuff, picture frame, kitchenware, bathroom supplies, wedding stuff, etc. This story happened on Easter weekend of the year 2021, and I'm writing this in the year 2022 in the month of July. So this is actually the day before Easter and I was pulling an 8-hour shift. Usually it would be 6. As it was Saturday and before a major holiday, it was busy. I was on the register and trying to help get the line down. You know, I have bad anxiety and I get overwhelmed on register, but I'm pretty sure management doesn't give a shit. Yes, I had to convince them to get me off, and now they have me back on again. That's a story for another time though. Plus, I'm quitting soon anyway. During one of the study sessions of the line, not too busy but not dead, one of the older workers, let's call her Sue, walked over to my register, and I thought she was going to tell me she was going on her lunch break or something like that. About Sue, I would say she's in her late 70s, and I think she's really old. And she was and still is one of my favorite co-workers. Instead, she came up to me and told me that she felt like she was going to pass out. I should mention also that she just got the COVID shot, but I don't want the comment section to be talking about the vaccine, of course. I wasn't sure what to do in that moment, so I told her to go to customer service. Customer service was not too far away from my register. Sue walked over and started explaining to the other co-workers what was going on. After I got done with a customer, I went over to see how things were going. They took her blood sugar, and I think she had diabetes or something like that. I honestly forgot what they took, and from what I can remember, it was pretty high. It got to the point when we had to call some managers. Let's call them Alan and Peter. And after some time they started helping her towards the back of the store. One of my co-workers, let's call him Timmy, and I went to put the chair back that she was sitting on when we suddenly heard yells. I quickly ran out, only for Peter to tell me to get to the chair again and bring it to him. I didn't see too much, but I saw Sue on the floor and ran back telling Timmy to get the chair back out because Sue had collapsed. I wasn't very sure if she passed out though. Additionally, according to Sue, she lost her footing and she fell, and luckily Alan and Peter were holding her up, otherwise she probably would have smacked face first. Long story short, we had to call an ambulance for her. Sue was getting evacuated by an off-duty paramedic or someone medical, and when they were getting her on the stretcher, once the ambulance got there, I told Alan what happened and what led up to it. Alan proceeded to tell me how I should have helped her or walked her to customer service or even gave her a chair to sit in. I should know that there was nowhere to sit down at that very moment, and she told me that she could have collapsed on the way there. She didn't flat out say it was my fault, but I feel like that was what was being implied. Several co-workers were telling me the same thing on how I could have helped her or get her a seat. The co-worker who called for an ambulance, let's call her D, was crying and smoking outside because she was stressed, and it was a bad experience with calling 911. I wanted to cry too, since I was desperately trying to find someone who would say I did the best I could given the situation. I was either not acknowledged or told I should have done something to help. I did go on my 15-minute break shortly afterwards, and I just cried because I kept thinking how I was at fault, and if she would have collapsed, it would have been my fault. I have talked to Sue about it when she came back to work. She's fine now, and even said that if I did try helping her just to the costume service section, she would have refused. She was shocked and a little mad that they were pretty much blaming me. She apologized and assured me that it wasn't my fault. I, of course, told her that she didn't need to apologize because it wasn't her fault. This story doesn't haunt my brain as much as it used to, but when I do think about it, I feel a little angry because they were pretty much saying that I should have done something differently. Like, I'm not a medical professional and I don't entirely know what to do in that situation. I just hate that even happened. I just hate that.